I was living in my car. I had no money, showered at the Y with everything that could possibly go wrong, just go wrong. But I knew that within me was such power and greatness that I could not deny. No circumstance and disappointment could stop me from unleashing the secret hero inside me. And I did. This program will help you realize who you truly are and release the greatest value to the world. I am Steph Carse, and this is the secret hero. Okay, you may have heard before the expression that says the world is a stage and we're all the actors. Well, if you haven't, I'm sure your parents have. Remember what we talked about in the previous episodes, that we all have a unique role. Each person is created for a specific purpose, a specific role in life. But how do we know what that role is? How do we know for sure what we're supposed to do and what we are meant to be? Well, in life, we are given a few clues. And with these clues, it's up to us to find out where we shine the most, what makes us happy. Sometimes it takes a long time for us to figure out what is our unique role. We have to rely on the clues. But what are the clues, and how do I find them? First, the clue is like a seed that you plant in the ground somewhere, a seed that you keep watering on a daily basis until it starts sprouting, until it starts giving fruits. You can say that the seed is somehow linked to something your heart desires, something that really makes you happy, but also something that brings you peace, no matter where you are, no matter what the situation you're in. Peace is a good clue to know if you are at the right place. What do I mean by that? Well, what's the opposite of being at peace? The opposite is being agitated, stressed, anxious. Being agitated, stressed often means that you are not where you're supposed to be. You're not surrounded by the right people or the right friends, maybe. As hard as it is sometimes to figure out why things happen the way they do, if we keep watering that seed and keep that peace inside of us, it helps us find our role. There's a lot of noise around us, a lot of influence, and we have to determine whether they are good for us or whether they're not. Sometimes the noise and the influence could deviate us from our role. If we lose our peace, we often get lost in the noise. But I can guarantee you that we all have an important role to play. And it's for us to keep on looking for the clues through the noise and the influence around us. The more we focus on that, the more we water that seed and maintain our peace, the more chances we have to find our role. Let me share with you a story that will remind you that everyone has an important role to play. When I was a kid, we owned a pet store, and we had lots of animals and sold cats, dogs, and a bunch of other animals. Our pet store was attached to our home, so basically it was an extension of our home. You can imagine how cool it was for me and my brother having all these animals at the house. It was fun until we wanted to go out. Because a lot of times when we were planning to go out with the family, customers would show up even after business hours to ask my dad if he could open the store for them. Anyway, one Sunday after church, we were planning to have lunch in a restaurant with the whole family. And as we were about to leave, a customer arrived in our driveway and asked my dad if he could open the pet store for him so he could buy a dog for his son. Now imagine how disappointed my brother and I were. We were looking forward to leave, and we also knew that my dad always had a hard time to say no. Of course, Dad looked at my mom and told her to go to the restaurant with the kids and he would join us later. The customer told my father that the week prior, their son's golden retriever was hit by a car and died. The customer explained to my dad that his son was so sad and so depressed that he was crying all the time. And to cheer him up, he decided that morning to take him to the park and play ball. As they arrived at the park, the son noticed that there was a homeless guy seated on the bench, giving water and petting a dog. And to make matters worse, the homeless dog was a golden retriever just like theirs. So the customer told my dad that his son started crying and just wanted to go home. Then he continued by telling my dad, "This is why I'm here today. I want to surprise my son. I want to buy him a new puppy. I want him to have a new golden retriever." Golden retrievers were the kind of dogs we sold at the store, so it was perfect for him. After my dad sold the puppy to the customer, he heard a noise coming from the backyard, as if something or someone fell into our pool. My dad ran to the backyard and noticed, in fact, that a kid had fallen into our pool. He arrived just in time and was able to save the kid from drowning. Now, can you imagine my dad sharing the story with us? We thought, Dad was a true hero. I mean, wouldn't you say that he was a hero for saving that kid, right? After all, that kid would have died if my dad wouldn't have been there. But wait now, even if my dad was considered a hero, which we knew he was, the first hero was really the customer. Because if the customer wouldn't have come to buy the dog, my dad would have been at the restaurant with us and wouldn't have been able to save the kid from drowning, right? Wait a minute. The very first hero was that customer's son who lost the dog. Of course it was. Because if he wouldn't have been so sad and crying all the time about losing his dog, his father would not have come to the pet store to buy a new puppy. And my dad would have been with us in a restaurant, and that kid would have probably drowned. Wait a minute. Now that I think about it, even though the customer's son was considered the very first hero, the very, very first hero was the homeless guy in the park. Because if the homeless guy wouldn't have been there feeding his dog in the park, the customer's son wouldn't have seen the homeless feeding the dog and wouldn't have been so sad. And his dad wouldn't have come to the store to buy a puppy, and my dad would have been with us in the restaurant. So the very, very first hero is definitely now, without a doubt, the homeless guy. You see my point, right? My point is that everyone had a specific role in saving that kid from drowning. Or if you really start to think about it, the true hero could really be the dog who died in the first place. You see, we can go on, but the point is we all have a unique role to play. And when we all play our part, life has a way to arrange things to everyone's advantage when things don't go so well. Find what your role is. Look into your heart to find what makes you happy. What makes you feel awesome? What keeps you at peace no matter what? Peace is certainly a good clue. But in the next episode, I'll share some more clues with you that will definitely help you.